Have you ever thought about using AI as a study tutor? Well, in this video, I'm going to teach you exactly how to use AI as an effective study tutor that uses the best cognitive science to help guide you through the stuff that you're trying to learn, whether that's anatomy and physiology or biology or any other subject that you need to know. I'm going to do that by doing three things. First, I'm going to demo for you how I use my own custom GPT AI tutor in order to learn more effectively. Then second, I'm going to teach you three easy instructions that you can give to a stock AI, such as ChatGPT or Claude, so that it acts as a really effective tutor and not just a teller of information, but something that can actually guide you through what you're trying to learn using some good cognitive science. And third, I'm going to teach you how to use AI to learn from specific materials that you've gotten from your class, such as your professor's slides or a PDF of a textbook, whatever it is that you're trying to learn from. All right, so let's jump to the large language model and get started. All right, so here I am in the Siebert Science AI Tutor, and already you can see a few things. It's an A&P tutor that uses my teaching style, step-by-step guidance, and coding strategies, spaced repetition, and constant feedback on your learning, all the stuff that I teach in my Memory Lab program that helps people learn how to learn more effectively. And I've got a few things that you could ask here. Let's say you've got a digestive system test, but I'm going to start with something I'm actually trying to learn better, which is the stages of mitosis, because I'm planning to do a video on the stages of mitosis soon. So one thing that I'm going to always do, or really never do, one thing I'll never do is to type into the search bar right here. I'm almost never going to do that. I'm always going to use the dictate function. And the reason for that is because we type very slow, and even if you're a really good typer, you're a much faster speaker. And so we want to be dictating whenever possible. It just speeds up the process and helps us. It's going to help us learn more effectively. So I'm going to start by clicking the dictate button. Bit of a delay here for some reason. All right. I am trying to learn the stages of mitosis in order to make a YouTube video on it. But you can treat this as if I'm taking a test on the stages of mitosis. Help me learn those. All right. I click the check mark. It's going to take a minute to transcribe that. I'm going to click that button. And then the Siebert Science AI Tutor is going to take a moment. It's going to say, great choice. Mitosis is a classic test topic and a great YouTube subject. Before I explain it, let me ask, what do you already know about the stages of mitosis? Hey, one thing as I go through this, think about what this custom GPT is doing. It's not just telling me the information, but think about the things that it actually does. That'll be really helpful whenever I show you how to use just stock ChatGPT or Claude or whatever AI that you're using to really become a good AI tutor and not just a teller of information. If you just use stock GPT and you say this thing's right there, it's just going to like tell you the stages of mitosis, a bunch of information all at once. And you can just get that from a textbook or your professor's slides. Like that's not actually that helpful. So what does it actually have us do? Let's think about it. It first asks, what do you already know about the stages of mitosis? For example, can you name any of the stages or describe what happens in them? This will help me see if we should start from the absolute basics or jump into more advanced details like spindle fiber dynamics or cytokinesis, differences in plant versus animal cells. And it gives a tip. Since you'll be using this for a video, you might want to try narrating your answers out loud using the microphone button. Actually, this custom GPT has been instructed to always tell the person to use the microphone button if possible. And that's because of the reasons that I mentioned at the beginning of this. So I kind of built that into this. And it says it gives it a reason why. So what do you already know about the stages of mitosis? So I'm going to follow its instructions. I'm going to click dictate. All right, so the stages of mitosis that I know, I always think of PMAT. So prophase, metaphase, anaphase, telophase. Those are the stages of mitosis. And I know that there's also interphase, which is when it's not undergoing mitosis. That's sort of in between them. I'm really fuzzy on what happens in each stage. I think, over the course of this, it's going to take the chromatin, which is the DNA, but it separates into the chromosomes, and the spindle fibers grab the chromosomes and it pulls them apart. Metaphase, I think, is when they're like lined up in the middle, like but that's about all that I remember. I don't remember what happens in each specific stage. All right, it's going to take a moment to think. I brain dumped as much as I could kind of think of. Now, that would have taken me forever to type out. That's why I say to speak it out loud. And you're just kind of brain dumping all the information that you have. You want to give it as much information as possible. And it's going to know kind of where to go from there. So let's give it that information. It's going to think about it and tell me some more. It says, perfect. That's a strong starting point. You've got the order PMAT. And you already remember metaphase pretty well. Nice. Awesome. Let's build on that step by step. Here's a big picture overview of mitosis before we go into details of each stage. Prophase. And so I'm going to try, as I read this, I'm going to try to like really understand this, and it should be asking me to re-explain that in some way. It's going to test me on that information. Prophase, chromosomes condense and become visible. Spindle fibers start forming. Okay, so I kind of had that vaguely. Prophase is when it's just the chromatin and they form the chromosomes, and then the spindle fibers start forming, and those are going to grab onto them. Metaphase, the chromosomes line up at the cell's equator and middle. So I'm going to remember meta and middle. Pro just means before. And then, all right, so then anaphase. So the sister chromatids are pulled apart towards opposite poles. So that's when like the chromosomes are going to be pulled apart from each other. And then telophase, chromosomes decondense and the nuclear envelopes reform. So this is going to be like the membrane around the nucleus. That's the nuclear envelope. Well, the membrane around the chromosomes. And then chromosomes decondense. So I assume that means they kind of convert back into chromatin and aren't actual chromosomes anymore. But again, I'm relearning all this information to make a video for it, so I don't know this super well at the moment. After mitosis comes cytokinesis, splitting the cytoplasm. So according to this, cytokinesis actually happens after PMAT. I would have assumed that telophase is where cytokinesis is happening, but I'm wrong on that. So cytokinesis is when the splitting of the cytoplasm, so it actually like splits into two different cells, the two daughter cells. Now to check your understanding. Notice it's going to check my understanding before we go any deeper. Could you try explaining those 4 stages back to me in your own words without looking, just from memory? This is really important, and it's important that if you use the Siebert Science AI Tutor, that you do this without looking, just from memory. Hey, by the way, before I go on, the Siebert Science AI Tutor is provided as a bonus for students in my Memory Lab program. In the Memory Lab program, what I do is I teach students how to learn A&P and biology and really any life science subject more effectively. So I teach the cognitive science of how learning works and how the brain works. And then I give a lot of guidance about how students can use that to learn more effectively. So it's really about learning how to learn better. If that sounds like it would be helpful to you, check out the link in the description and I'll give you some more information about the program and what all is involved. And you also get access to the Siebert Science AI Tutor. And so hopefully that's helpful to those of you that are looking for some extra support in learning how to learn more effectively, which can help you learn not just the classes that you're in now, but really anything that you have to learn in the future. All right, back to this. And it says here in a coding tip, I've got this built in where it's going to teach you some like effective cognitive science strategies and stuff. So one here is simplify. Imagine explaining PMAT to a 10-year-old. Oh my gosh. Okay. Keeping it simple will force you to focus on the essence. Want to give it a try? Well, you might think, I don't know if I want to give it a try, but really, you should always give it a try. We're talking to AI. I'm on a video that might be watched by a lot of people, but I'm going to give it a try. So we've got prophase, metaphase, anaphase, telophase. Prophase, I'm looking off to the side so that I'm not looking I'm not cheating here. So prophase is where the chromatin becomes chromosomes, those start to form, and spindle fibers start to form. Metaphase, the chromosomes line up in the middle, and then the spindle fibers attach. And then anaphase is when the daughter chromatids, I need to work my vocab there, they're actually split apart by the spindle fibers. They're pulled apart. So anaphase, they're pulled apart from each other. And then telophase, or telophase, I need to work on my pronunciation before I make a video on this. That is where they're pulled apart from each other and they start to decondense. So they're forming back into chromatin. I believe that's what that means. Correct me if I'm wrong. And then we have cytokinesis, which is where the cytoplasm like splits and we actually get the two different cells, and the nuclear envelope is going to form. I think the nuclear envelope forms during telophase. I forgot that part. And then we have interphase. We wait for the PMAT cycle, the mitosis cycle to start over again. I didn't explain that to a 10-year-old. I messed that up. Let me try that again real quick. Okay, so prophase is where your genetic material forms into chromosomes. And In metaphase, there's these like fingers that grab onto the chromosomes. And then in anaphase, the fingers pull the chromosomes apart. And then in telophase, now that you've got the chromosomes pulled apart, they form their own little nucleus and they split apart from each other into 2 brand new cells. That's maybe how I'd explain it to a 10-year-old or so. All right. Okay, so I'm going to click the check there. And I'm going to kind of wrap this up because this video will take a while if I'm actually trying to learn this stuff. I spent some decent amount of time on this. I'm going to give that, and it's going to give me some feedback on it. Now, if you're trying to learn a lot of information quickly, this is a really good way to do it because it's going to be giving you feedback on the information. It's going to give you instant feedback on it. It's going to prompt you to do active recall, which is really effective for learning, and it's going to give you encoding strategies to use. So I would recommend this, especially if you have to learn a lot of information quickly. And this is one of the things that I do in order to learn information better for my YouTube videos. Just because it's a way to, without looking up lots of different resources, I can just use AI to teach me the stuff, and my AI tutor is really good about doing that. Okay, so it says, that was excellent. Oh, thank you, AI tutor. It makes me feel so good about myself, even though I feel embarrassed that everybody on YouTube knows that I don't know mitosis cycle as well as maybe I should. A couple of fine-tuning points. It says, yes, it condenses indivisible chromosomes. Also, the nuclear envelope breaks down. Okay, I didn't have that. Nuclear envelope breaks down. So it's going to take what I know and it's going to add in little bits of information to push my understanding further, which is so good. So like that particular detail I didn't think of. Metaphase, perfect. Chromosomes lying from the middle, attached to spindle fibers. Anaphase, great call. At this point, they're called daughter chromosomes. Daughter chromosomes. Once the chromatids separate, they each get to be their own chromosome. All right. At this point, if I keep going with this, I'm probably going to ask the AI tutor for some more information about the difference in vocabulary, like chromatids versus chromosomes. And then telophase, okay, I remembered correctly there. And then, yeah, the final pinch to make the 2 cells. You explain to the 10-year-old spot on, using fingers for spindle fibers. Simple and analogy, a double win for memory. So yeah, this is actually really good. When I thought about like the fingers grabbing on and pulling as part of anaphase, like I basically created a metaphor. Not that nobody's ever thought about like fingers, spindle fibers being like fingers, but in my brain I remembered it or came up with it, and so that's going to be really helpful in my own memory because now I've simplified it. I've got an analogy that I kind of think of. So anything that you can do like that when you're learning will be really effective for learning. All right, and then immediately it's always going to ask me this. It's always going to do a retrieval check. Without looking, can you walk me through what happens in prophase and telophase? Just those 2 in your own words. Those are usually the trickiest ones to separate. So what I've done here in the AI tutor is told it after every time it gives me more information, it needs to check my understanding again. And that's super important because what we tend to do is we like read this information, and when we read it, we're like, okay, I understand it. Ooh, I guess I know it. But in reality, on a test, you're going to have to recall this stuff from memory, and that is very different than reading it and being like, oh yeah, I understand it. So it's super important that you're doing active recall, and the AI tutor has built in its custom instructions to do that. So this is how I would use AI, in particular, my Siebert Science AI tutor, in order to learn information better. For my own YouTube videos, or if I was taking a test, I would use this as well. Now, the second thing I want to do is, what if you were learning from stock ChatGPT? You don't have access to the Siebert Science AI tutor, and so how can you like recreate this very quickly so that you can learn from AI effectively? So let me start a new chat. Now I'm just in ChatGPT 5. I'm not in my special AI tutor or anything. It's just normal ChatGPT. I've got 3 instructions that you need to give ChatGPT before you start learning. If you give these 3 instructions, you'll get like a pretty good AI tutor from ChatGPT in this learning session. So here's what the 3 things are, and I'm going to speak them out loud so you'll see them appear on the screen, as well as I'll tell ChatGPT this, and you can see kind of what it looks like. The first one is this. Hey ChatGPT, I'm trying to learn some information. I'm going to learn the coronary arteries. So 3 instructions I'm giving you. 1, ask what I know first, then teach me step by step, no more than a few facts at a time. So ask what I know first, teach me step by step, no more than a few facts at a time. The second instruction I'm giving you is to make me recall from memory before moving on. Don't move on unless I recall that information. So prompt me to recall it and make sure I really know it. Don't just let me say, hey, I know it. And then third, teach me good study strategies along the way according to cognitive science. If you tell it those three things, it's going to do a really good job of guiding you as a tutor and not just a teller of information, which is what ChatGPT would do on its own. So it's thinking it's starting a tutoring session. All right, thought for half a minute, which is sometimes a good sign for AI. All right. Sounds says, love it. I'll stick to your 3 rules exactly from what you told me earlier. Okay, it's pulling from, I tested this out beforehand. So it's like remembering my chat history, unfortunately. But what it would do is it would tell me to remember this, try to recall it from memory first. Step 1, only 2x2 facts. Goal facts for this step are the 2 main coronary arteries and the 2 main branches of the left main artery. Your turn. Recall. No notes, no peeking. Name the 2 main coronary arteries of the aorta. 2 primary branches of the left main. And it's saying type my answers from memory, but I know that I should speak them. So I'm gonna give this a try and see what it tells me. All right, the 2 main coronary arteries that come off the aorta are the left coronary artery and the right coronary artery, and the 2 primary branches off the left main coronary artery are going to be the left anterior descending artery and the circumflex artery. And just for some extra measure, I know that the right coronary artery has the right marginal acute artery, I think, as well as the anterior descending artery. No, the posterior descending artery. The posterior, because it wraps around the back. So I would do that. And it even gave me a study tip here, some different things. It's not going to have all of the specific cognitive science stuff from the Memory Lab program, but it's going to give me some pretty good stuff. All right. So it's going to zoom 1 layer deeper. It's going to push me to go a little bit farther. It's going to ask for a recall check. And so if you notice, it's doing a lot of the same things that the Siebert Science AI tutor did. I just have to give it those instructions first. That's super important. All right, and finally, the next thing that I wanted to show you. So let me do a new chat here. And this time I want to learn from specific study materials. So let's say I've got slides from a professor. So here I've got some coronary artery slides from a professor. These are actually slides from a YouTube video they did on the coronary arteries, but I just want to show you how this works. So you just drag the PDF or the slides. If you have them as Google Slides or PowerPoint, export it as a PDF, upload the PDF, and then you're going to ask it. All right, I need to learn the information in this PDF. I don't need to learn anything else, but I just need to learn this specific stuff for my test tomorrow. I want you to first ask me what I know, then teach me step by step, no more than 3 to 4 facts at a time. Make me recall from memory before moving on, and teach me good study strategies along the way. Hey, by the way, I'll put those instructions in the link in the description below so that you can, you can copy and paste those if you want to into ChatGPT or whatever AI that you use. All right, it's going to think longer for a better answer. I'm going to skip that and see what it does. It's reading the documents. It's got the PDF open. Let's start with step 1, activate your prior knowledge. So first tell me, what do you know about the main coronary arteries? I'm going to pretend like I don't know anything. Hey, I don't remember much. I know there's the right and the left, and I think they branch off the main coronary artery, and there's a circumnavigation artery somewhere. That's all that I can remember right now. Okay, let's say that I don't know much about the topic. That's what I might give it. All right, and then it's going to say, hey, that's a solid starting point. It's so encouraging. Remember the big idea. There's a right and a left, and your circumnavigation is really close. It's the circumflex artery. Oh, okay, cool. All right, first chunk, 3 facts. So it's going to chunk it down into a small amount of information, and it's going to start to give me the exact stuff that's from the PDF. And if you've seen my video, I abbreviate circumflex as CX, left anterior descending as LAD. And so by giving it the actual information I need to know from the PDF, it's going to really hone in on the information that I need to know. And so some students in my Memory Lab program, some of them mentioned me they have maybe they got 90 slides that they have to learn in 3 or 4 days. And so what I would do here is I would take that information and then just paste it into here, into the AI, and say, hey, create a study session for this, and also give it those 3 really important instructions. So hopefully that was helpful. That's how I would use AI to be a more effective learner. How I would use AI? No, that's how I do use AI to be a more effective learner. Speaking of being an effective learner, I've got a couple things that might help you with that. If you're trying to learn anatomy and physiology or really any other life science and you want to make sure you're using the best, most effective study strategies for it, I've got a free PDF A&P survival guide. Link in the description for that. It's free. You just give me your email and I'll send you that guide. And the second thing that I've talked about earlier in this video is my memory lab program. So it's a program where I give you a video course essentially on how to learn more effectively, and it teaches you the cognitive science of learning as well as some very practical strategies you can learn to become a more effective learner that you can apply right away in your life science classes, your med school classes, nursing classes, A&P, whatever it is that you're taking. And then it's a community as well. And so there's assignments that go with each one, like mostly reflections and things like that, or to try the strategy. So it doesn't take up tons and tons of your time if you're in the middle of a class. You try the strategy out, you post your reflection or in the community, and I give personal feedback to all of the reflections that come in that community. And so it's just a really cool place to be with other people who are trying to become more effective learners. If that sounds helpful to you, I've got a link in the description where you can learn more about the Memory Lab program, and I'd love to see you there in the program. So hopefully this video was helpful, and I'll catch you in the next one. If you want to learn more about how to learn effectively, this video might be a good one to watch, where I talk about some encoding and retrieval strategies and what those are and how our memory works. All right, thanks. See you in the next one. Bye-bye.